Hello everyone, welcome to Ignition.
And hello, we've got a double whammy today. We are looking at Volkswagen, and you don't often see me with a bit of pussy.
No, it's a miracle.
Let's get into this.
Let's do it. Right.
So, let's start off with, we're going to have a look at Volkswagen in general, and well, not just Volkswagen, the VAGroup.
We are, yes, yeah.
And what they're doing as far as changing their marketplace is concerned. But thought we'd start having a look at this Arteon, because I'm of the opinion that that could be the most beautiful estate car ever made.
I'm totally in agreement with you there. That is stunning. I think it looks menacing, it's streamlined, it's awesome.
And, sorry, I'm slightly distracted by my cat. Well, it's not even my cat. I mean, we don't even know whose cat this is.
No,
it's
we
just
have no
wandered
idea.
in.
No, we've befriended this cat.
It's wandered in, and it likes me, and not many people do.
No, so you're taking advantage of that.
I'm taking full advantage of stroking pussy on my knee.
But this is the R-line Arteon, so it is the top boy.
But they all look good.
They all look good. Those lights, everything about it's class.
And then this is the ID3, which is the new saviour model, as we've discussed in the past. It's called 3 because Beetle was the first important car, yes. Golf was second. This allegedly is the third most important car in the company's history. And
it is a step forward, I suppose.
Very, very different design to the Arteon. So,
very different. Yes, you couldn't get more different, in fact.
It was very difficult to find out who leads every design team in Volkswagen,
right.
and I got bored looking in the end. So I can't give you those facts at all. But this is the new ID3. Apparently the ID4 is getting close. We're August 2020.
We are, yeah.
And the ID4 is about to come in. And here's the new Golf.
The Golf. That's quite similar to the ID3 in lights and design wise. The Arteon's the biggest difference between them all, isn't it?
It's very different.
Very different, like a totally different animal. I'd say this Golf is on par-ish with the old one, but there's a bit of me that doesn't like it as much.
The front they've sort of squashed a little bit.
Yeah, it's a bit more Scirocco-like for me.
But it's still golfy.
It is.
I love the lights.
Yeah, the lights are cool.
And again, they're doing this thing about bringing out first editions of the new cars, which are the most expensive ones they can do.
Yes.
But in some respects, what we're going to have a look at today is the ID3 is their new electric platform vehicle, and now it's out. Volkswagen, obviously, this is part of what we're going to discuss today. Volkswagen is their leading brand, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is.
You know, obviously Audi's more expensive, Porsche's more expensive, but Volkswagen's the core.
Yeah, and that's
brand.
what you see. You see a lot of Volkswagens.
And what we wanted to discuss today is where the Volkswagen badge sits within their group.
Yes, and all the others. What is it better? What has worse than? What we need to talk about is.
To me, it was the sort of
middle way house, slightly more upper. It was the upper class,
classless
middle
car.
Yeah, anyone could drive a Volkswagen.
Yeah, you could drive it up to the Ritz Hotel.
Yeah,
you could then also drive it to the tip with your rubbish in.
Yeah, it's any consumer, anyone.
Any consumer at all. You're right there. Yeah.
The cat's woken up. But no, I think Volkswagen's always had that sort of anyone could own it.
Yes. Now that car, to me, when I look at that car, I just think whoever designed that, well, hats off to you. It's stunning.
The way the front lights go into the grille, everything's been thought out well on that. That looks great.
And that, to me, we'll come on to negatives a little bit later, but positives, that to me sums up everything good about Volkswagen.
Yes.
It's not the most expensive car in its class. No. You know, an Audi's going to cost you more, and a Jag's going to cost you more, but they have absolutely nailed that with the design. It's such a desirable vehicle.
Yeah, the exhausts, the way everything, everything fits. It's such a smooth looking car. I think it's great.
And adding practicality into it is something, for me, I need practicality. I still do to a certain degree.
Well, that's what an estate car is all about, isn't it?
It is.
It's all about just chucking your luggage in or whatever.
Is there a difference between shooting brake and estate?
I think a shooting brake is more of a slanted back, because I know the Mercedes CLA shooting brake, they do, and it's much more not as square. I think that's what the difference is. Not entirely sure, but I think that's what the difference is. But I think that's it.
And the new Golf, which is potentially going to be the last one ever unless they just electrify it. There's something, the back I think is great.
I do think, it doesn't quite have the stance and road presence of the previous generation.
No.
It doesn't look as mean.
I can't put my finger on the front what it is that they've done something to it. And I think they've narrowed the grille slightly too much.
I think so. It almost looks like it's had a palm to the face.
Yeah, and it's gone. I'm assuming it's better for aerodynamics and pedestrian crash safety.
It must be. Yeah, it must be something to do with that. But I personally prefer the last generation.
Yes. So, and then we come on to the big. The ID3 is their big player, and Skoda have just launched. Well, Seat, we should have probably put an Elborn picture in there as well.
Probably, yes.
We can probably edit one in. And that Skoda is built on the same platform.
Right.
And it seems to be coming out at quite a similar cost.
Okay.
And there's the design difference between the two. Now, we'll go on to discuss what we think of the two, but if we've got some clips from Thomas, who runs a channel called Autogefuehl, and for me, I think he's the most respected motoring journalist out there at this moment in time. So if he gives an opinion, and he's German,
and he's very unbiased as well.
He's unbiased. In fact, if anything, he's biased. He always says he's not biased, but he does like a German car.
Yeah, he does. So I think we should have a look, shall we?
He does like a German car, and I can't do my James Bond bit.
Oh, he's run off.
Oh, my pussy's gone. God, we were baking hot there.
Oh yeah, he's on the floor now.
He's stretched out on the floor now. So sorry, you can't. I wanted to do the James Bond bit.
Yeah, the villain. But
yeah.
no, you couldn't quite do that. But here's the interior.
Super cute.
The difference between the both interiors. So we've got the Skoda on the left and the ID3 on the right.
And there's one word that comes to mind when I look at the one on the Volkswagen one.
What?
Cheap.
Cheap. What came to mind is childlike. It reminds me of a kid's iPad. That's what it looks like to me.
And this is where we're going with where Volkswagen sits in the group. Now, to me, if you said to me, one's a Skoda, one's a Volkswagen, I would go, well, I'd
hope that one
the brown leather one, brown whatever material that may be, with the classy iPad-looking screen, must be the Volkswagen.
Yes.
And the cheap and nasty one, I would say,
must be
Skoda's gone downhill.
Yes. Yeah, you would.
Skoda's gone downhill.
And I've always seen Volkswagen above Skoda.
Well, they are.
I always have, and they should be, I suppose.
They are.
They are. But that, to me, there's no comparison between the two.
That looks. We had a Toyota Aygo when we first moved to Portugal.
We did.
And the infotainment in that worked fine. It was in the nastiest bit of plastic you've ever had the misfortune to own.
The software looked cheap. It just all looked like a cheap tablet.
Regardless of how it worked, it did work all right.
It did, but it just didn't look the part. And that ID3 to me looks a bit on the cheap side.
But let's not take our word for this. No. Let's move on to somebody who knows their stuff better than we do.
Let's do it.
We should look at the price first.
Oh, we should.
Well, should we?
Well, yeah. Let's talk about it.
So, prices. So the Skoda comes in varying varieties, but the 80 seems to go up against the ID3 first edition, except it's got a slightly bigger battery. So the edition one's got the 77 kilowatt, as you can see there, where the Skoda's got an 82 kilowatt. But the Skoda, you know, at the end of the day, you're talking €100 difference.
Yeah.
So they're the same price.
And looking at the interiors, I wouldn't compare the two.
Well, this is sort of where we're coming to, isn't it?
It is.
The Skoda seems incorrectly priced to me.
It does. It looks to me at least a 10,000 difference.
Yeah, if ignoring this, take away badge snobbery, because we're ignoring
if
the badges.
If the badge has been taped over and you're just looking at the two interiors, I genuinely couldn't compare the two.
No, because the
Skoda looks so much.
One's going to be a lot more expensive.
Yeah, totally.
Body is somewhat soft touch and also structured. Then this checkered aluminum or brushed aluminum structure here, at least in this style. Nice soft fabric at the inside of the doors and also reasonable door pockets as for that. And then this dot structure there. So indeed in the EVs they're a little bit more daring also with the interior design. And it's also continued over on here. Steering wheel and no spoke at the lower part. We already know that from the Octavia, for example. And then again, the nice bright fabric inside here and a soft touch dashboard. 5.3-inch instruments on the left, really small. On the right side, 10-inch screen. Base, or this one here is the optional 13-inch screen, so soon more details to that. You've seen it on the exterior, it has this van style a little bit, but it also counts as SUV. Well, however you want to define it, you have this upright seating position. It's very comfortable actually, the first impression. With one way is 86 or 6 with 1, there's still plenty of headroom left, although this one is the panoramic roof, which you can open then here with a slider. Yeah, these sliders, if they're really an advantage or not, I'll leave that up to you. See here, it's actually quite substantial opening then for that panoramic roof. Once again, told you earlier, this is, you know, with this capacitive button style, it's really hard and distracting to do that while driving. You don't have the exact feedback, you hear something. And in this case, on the left side, you also have like a two-step, like for 1 kilometer or for 10 kilometer steps. Maybe you could also hear that, but this is just on the left side. It looks cooler, it's fancy, it has this background lighting here, but the base steering wheel you can get in the base Golf with the still normal buttons is easier to control. Ah, very solid. That's actually, you know, what you can appreciate about the Volkswagen build quality, but what you can't is this. Hardpack at the inside of the doors. And okay, if the entry version is less than 30,000 euros for this car, maybe okay. But the car as it stands here right now, rather close to 50,000 euros then with the biggest battery, then I think not okay. Interesting also here, the high gloss black, not okay with that either. And only 2 levers for the windows front. But you have to know that a capacitive button for the rear, and then you control the rear windows with these 2. Yeah, 2 more buttons saved there. And also here, this is known from the old system to control the left and right mirror. It also gives you some kind of haptical feedback, but here, this is the middle, and then right. Middle, left, middle, right. But look at that, only like before it gives you the haptical feedback. Here, just a little bit between reverse and heated mirrors. So, and you really have to look at this while controlling it. So I don't know, either a completely new system or just keep the old one. But this one is, I mean, not intuitive at all. Okay, we're going into details here, but this is Autogefuehl. Even out very well. It's so much fun to drive this car. It drives like a sports car, although it does not look like it at all. So hardware driving wise from Dynamics, really great. Of course, a little bit stiff here with the normal suspension and the 20-inch wheels. It will be even better soon with the adaptive suspension and a little bit smaller wheels. So driving-wise, great, and also good that they built the electric motors themselves. So, but then, you know, the crucial point, the interior. I mean, on the one hand, good build quality, but then on the other hand, some materials there from the hard pack materials, they need to be upgraded. A little bit more premium feeling for that would be needed. And of course, the software and the control input. So you know there has been a lot of thought about that and they want to create something new, but it's too complicated. It is not intuitive at all. That's, I think, the biggest issue with this vehicle. So we can say, what GT. Here, flipping the logo, then you open the hatch, and then you have a little bit more space and height, especially. Oh, there's a Arteon bag, just a sample bag right here, so it's a very practical trunk. There is a loading sill here because they decided they want to offer more height instead of an even loading sill. That depends on if you put a floor cover in here. In this case, they just want to offer more height.
So,
Well, we've got 3 to talk about there then.
we've got a fair bit. Let's start
With the
by,
Skoda.
No, we've got
No?
we've got it.
All right, we've got a picture of
We've
this,
got a
okay.
picture of it up here.
All right.
Let's start with one of the most beautiful cars in the world.
Okay, let's do it.
Right. So first thing we need to say is this looks like it's a Volkswagen bashing video.
It does, but it's not.
It's not. It's because we love Volkswagen. And
We own one.
We own one. We've owned a few,
We have.
and I love the brand.
I think it's
And
great. Yeah, I love
I'm becoming
Volkswagens.
more and more and more disappointed and confused.
Well, it is a shame because I think if you went back 5 years ago and said to us what is one of our favourite brands, it would have been Volkswagen. The
Still-
Golf, everything. We like the whole lineup.
I've bought enough for
The
work.
Beetle, the new Beetle we liked, the Volkswagen Golf we liked, everything we liked.
Yeah, old Beetles, love them.
Yeah, and it's almost like they're taking them and slightly making them worse.
Yeah, but this one
Though.
This one is really doing my head in. Who signs off? Let's take a fantastically sexy hatchback and let's make it available for people who need a bit more practicality. And then put a bloody great lump so you can't, once you've put something in, you can't get it out. So I always needed a practical vehicle, still probably go down that road now. For my job, literally they'd lift things up on a forklift and I would slide them into the back of, let's say, what was the car I had the longest? An E-Class, wasn't
Yeah, an E-Class estate.
it? E-Class 8. You'd slide it in over no load lip.
No, it would. Well, you can see the little boot lip, the bash guard.
Yeah.
It should line up with that.
Well, why can't you have the option of a... So, Thomas, in that review, you need to go and watch the full reviews. We've just given you a snippet of Autogefuehl. His reviews are fantastic and he's warts and all. But when you saw him put his hand in and that bag was
up
in,
to that.
you're talking a 10-inch
Boot lip.
boot lip. Now, why can't they supply a drop-in floor? And he was saying that, they want to give you more space.
More height, yeah.
If I drop something, when I was working, people would get something on a forklift, we'd stand either side of it
And guide it
then slide it into the back of my car. Now, if I slide it in the back of that, I mean, maybe because I'm weak, I'm not getting it out of that.
No, because you can put things in that are heavy, but you need to slide them out. don't you?
And that completely, what is the point of that car? I might as well just continue with the hatchback.
And also something from the photo here that's bugging me is once you've put your object in, say if it's long, and you want to put it behind your fold your passenger seat forward and slide it through, why are those two things bolted to the back of the chair?
It's crazy.
How do you slide something in over that?
So
That's annoying me as well.
it
So
is.
there's two things there that don't make much sense to me.
So what we're coming to here is that Volkswagen have designed
The most beautiful estate car
the
ever.
most beautiful estate car, yet somebody signed that off. So when the bloke comes in, he goes, look, I've designed the back of the car. And you'd go, well, what's that lip for?
Yeah.
I want that lip gone. Now, either we have a shortened top or the back goes down into the bumper area. Now, obviously, you've got crash protection, you've got heights, you've got to meet.
And the looks.
The looks. But at the end of the day, that is a car that they're pitching as a practical vehicle, and it's just a completely impractical
It is,
vehicle.
yeah. No,
unless you want to herniate your disc.
It is still a saloon car, really, isn't it? Other than a bit more height. You've still got the same problems as the saloon.
So that really is that it's the signing off of that niggles me. So we'll leave the Arteon as a car that unfortunately I couldn't buy.
Yeah, no, me too.
However much I want it.
Well, no, because you're buying an estate for practicality, and those things would just get right on your nerves.
Yep.
In fact, they'd make it impossible to be a practical car.
It is. It's daft, even just with your shopping. Now we go to the Golf. And the new Golf is something that we've sat in
and discussed before.
We've discussed before, and I've said that the GTE, GTD or GTI of the 2015, 16, 17 variety, which we've got a picture of here, I put down as the ergonomically perfect vehicle. Everything about that car, and I've done a shed load of miles in a GTD, that you sit perfectly, your arm falls on the armrest either side of you at the same height. Continental armrests on the left or right, depending on which hand you've got it. The gear selection stick
is just
nice. It's a chunky, lovely bit of kit that you
don't
move.
have to do this.
You don't have to do it with your 2 fingers.
Yeah.
The knobs for the heating work perfectly. Fairness, the touchscreen worked perfectly. Everything worked. I'm not denying the new one possibly looks cleaner, neater, tidier and more modern. Clearly it does, and there's no reason for them not to be able to keep the ergonomics of actual use.
Yes.
Because I love a Golf.
Oh yeah, Golfs are great. They're the all-round sort of perfect car, aren't they?
Do you know, that's exactly how I would describe the Golf, as the world's perfect car.
Yeah, everything they do, just do well.
And if, you know, Thomas has made it very clear what he thinks of those buttons on the steering wheel. At least they haven't quite gone to the ID3's stupid rear window.
No, oh, the rear windows.
Let's get to it. Let's get to the main event, and here it is.
Well, this one I still can't quite get my head around, because if you put a Volkswagen badge on the Skoda and said that the ID3 that we've got a photo of here was the bog standard bottom of the range, fine. And if they said that the Skoda was a Golf R version of the ID3, I'd believe them. And I'd say, well, that looks about right.
They look like they are two cars from a completely different price bracket.
Oh, they do.
You can see that the design's the same.
It looks like a Vignale version almost, like Ford do.
But the design, the dashboard's the same, the screen's the same, even the centre coming out the same. But everything's just on the Skoda been done with quality products.
I mean, I suppose it might not be leather, but the leather-looking dashboard. I mean, the quality's a different league, isn't it? The seats, everything about it is just a different league, I'm afraid.
The door on that ID3 is an embarrassment.
Oh, it is. It looks like moulded cheap plastic, isn't it?
Well, it is.
Yeah.
It's an embarrassment to the we're coming to. It's an embarrassment to the Volkswagen brand.
It is.
And it's not that we're bashing Volkswagen.
No.
It's I want the Skoda to be the Volkswagen.
Yes, no, that's totally.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah, because the Skoda should be the Volkswagen.
Yeah, what are they doing? And this is the question that we're asking, so whack it in the comments.
Yes.
What are they doing? Is Skoda now the premium brand? Seat is the middle of the road and Volkswagen is the
lowest.
But they're not doing it cost-wise.
No, because if they'd said that the Skoda was 50 grand and the ID3 was 40, understandable, but they're the same price. And why are those two cars the same price?
But it's not just the quality. The beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
It is.
But the Skoda's better looking.
It is. And the quality's better.
You've got the light, the
it looks like a BMW.
It looks awesome.
Yeah.
And that's again, it's not something against Volkswagen. I mean, I've cross-shopped Volkswagen with BMW before and chosen Volkswagen.
Yes.
You know, I could have had a 3 Series, and I bought a Passat.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
You know, so for the price of a medium range Beamer, I got my R32 Passat, didn't I?
Yeah.
And that's what it was all about. It had beautiful leather seats.
Yeah, everything about it was great.
Went like Sting.
Yeah.
It was a great car.
Very underrated car.
Super underrated car, but that's what Volkswagen was all about. Quality, absolute top-notch quality. I mean, that Passat will still be running around, and I had it 10 years ago.
Yep.
And it'll still be running around because it was a fantastic car. It wasn't made out of a wheelie bin.
No, it does. Yeah, it just doesn't quite make sense to me.
You know, we've done something on the ID3 before, and it was a popular video because
it sparked a lot of interest.
Yeah, because people think we're just slagging off the ID3. No, far from it. What we want is we're actually slagging off the Volkswagen designers because Skoda and Volkswagen have the same platform.
They do.
And they've been given the same opportunity to design a product for the marketplace. And as we've said before, why are people buying the ID3? I have no idea. I mean, It's been marketed well. It's going, but it's ugly.
And it's got the hype on YouTube. Everyone's talking about it. But
and you get nasty comments from people who've obviously ordered one and are owning one because they're embarrassed.
A bit bitter, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, if I'd lobbed my £40,000 down on that Volkswagen, and now I see that Skoda, I mean, I'd be absolutely gutted.
Yeah.
Gutted.
The same price bracket's unbelievable. I can't believe.
And that, to me, is completely wrong. A Volkswagen purchase should be something you're pleased with for 1, 2, 5, 10 years. You're still pleased with that purchase. I mean, I've got a friend in the UK's father bought a Golf GTI 15, 20 years ago, and he's still driving it with a smile on his face because it's a fantastic vehicle, and it is.
Yeah.
I can't believe anyone in 15 years' time is going to be driving that ID3 and be super chuffed, because the day they picked it up, they wish they'd bought a Skoda.
Yes, yeah. Well, when the Elborn photos were released, I thought ID3 owners would be gutted that they hadn't ordered the Seat. And the Skoda's a level up from that.
Well, that's what this video is about, is why are Volkswagen pitching themselves quality-wise so low and trying to get the same... Why are these two the same price?
I don't know.
It just seems insane.
That's our question, isn't it? We're asking why.
The Skoda should be cheaper.
It should. And it shouldn't look like that.
And you can clearly see that the DNA is they're the same vehicle.
Yeah, they've got the same design.
So
same.
There were some of the arguments are, well, the Volkswagen ID3 is going to be the best driving EV ever. It's going to be this. The architecture is amazing. But the Skoda is exactly the same. It's got exactly the same propulsion units. I don't know why it's got a slightly bigger battery. Again, that doesn't seem right either.
No.
Volkswagen should have the best of everything, and then they should filter it down so that the Seat maybe is a bit sportier.
Yeah.
The Skoda's a bit more luxurious.
Well, they should have their own category, shouldn't they?
Yeah, but they're cheaper.
But they've changed.
But you can't sell that Volkswagen for the same price as that Skoda, because the badges now are irrelevant.
Yeah.
You can't buy a Volkswagen over a Skoda for quality, which is what you should be doing. Is that what is that?
Yeah. I think that's perfectly right. Yeah.
I buy a Volkswagen because I'm getting better quality. Well,
no, that's just no.
Since we sat in the, is it the
Kodiaq.
Kodiaq?
And the Kodiaq. Oh, cat's back.
Yeah, was it
Kodiaq?
When the Kodiaq came out, we sat in the Kodiaq, and we went. Sorry about that, puss. We said this is way too good.
Well, it was. I mean, it was on par with an Audi Q7.
Yeah.
That big Skoda. I mean, they've right up their game, haven't they?
Yeah.
But yeah, this one can't quite get my head around it.
So this is definitely not a Skoda bashing, because we're Volkswagen bashing, because we're going to finish on
the designer of that deserves an award for the exterior.
Except he should have beaten senseless the guy who designed
the boot,
or just didn't put it's a simple fix.
False floor.
Give us a false floor.
Yeah, simple.
Not to offer one.
Yeah, to buy that car and not get a false floor would be insane.
You know, the new Passat's going to look like that, and
the Passat's pretty much redundant now, isn't it? When they've made that.
Yeah, well, they're facelifting it to look. I mean, that's the daft thing again.
Yeah, why?
It's just going to look the same, but that's irrelevant. That is a great car. They've put some of the stupid buttons in, but they've at least left the gear stick alone.
True.
I'm assuming it's going to die a death. But that is such an awesome car, and Volkswagens are such awesome cars.
They are, yeah.
That it's making me extremely sad. But that ID3, to sum up and finish on this, that ID3 is an embarrassment to the brand.
Yeah. So we'd like your comments. Do you prefer the Skoda or the ID3?
Yeah,
I'd like to hear that from other people.
Yeah, it's irrelevant what we think. You know, I personally think that ID3 is an embarrassment to the brand. They should be ashamed of it. And to ask that, so if they were asking 25 grand for it,
yeah,
and they were asking 40 for the Skoda. Perfectly acceptable. And
I'd still be confused as to why that would happen.
And
but
that's where I'd be.
But yeah, I'd be just a bit confused as why Volkswagen would be cheaper
So,
But pricing them at the same price is ridiculous.
so Mr. Bond,
So, on that, I think it's time we end, don't
and
you?
I think we should go and give the pussycat some milk.
Yes, and a little snack.
A little snack, even though it's not our cat.
Yeah, but
People think that's wrong feeding someone else's cat, but we have got some cat snacks.
Cat
but we'll
snacks.
give it some milk.
yeah, he'll like that.
It'll like that.
Clearly likes us more than his owners.
Well, who wouldn't?
True,
Who
true.
wouldn't? And it said to me earlier, it went, that Volkswagen ID shit.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh, he's got some sense then.
Doesn't want to go in that.
No, he wants the Skoda.
He wants the Skoda.
Anyway, so thank you everyone for watching, and we'll finish it on there.
Okay.
Catch us
From
soon.
the three of us.
Yep.
Thanks
we'll
for
see you
watching.
soon.